Welcome back, everybody. Today's interior design segment, we have Courtney with us. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
We're going to talk about kitchen planning, and this is her field of expertise, interior design in general, but kitchen and bathroom planning takes a lot of talent and it takes a lot of patience. We'll jump right in, and when somebody calls us, Kirby Interior Design or any interior design studio, they're reaching out usually because they are getting a remodel done. And for us specifically, we focus on kitchen and bath. So when we get that phone call and we let them know we have interior design services, we usually schedule an appointment, and then from there, you take over. You'll go to the appointment. Just kind of talk to us about what that looks like and what are some of the benefits of having that interior design presence while doing a remodel.
Of course. The kitchen, since day one, it's always been considered the heart of the home. And it really is, whether you're a cook or not, it is kind of where you begin your day and usually end your day, whether you are utilizing the space for actually cooking or not.
Sure.
When clients call us for kitchen remodel, it really varies based on the client's needs and the scope of the work.
And some of what we were pre-segment talking about was you have a variety of households. And so you've got people who love to cook and their needs are going to be different than a family who uses the kitchen as a social gathering area and needs more workspaces and different things. Do you start with that line of questioning?
Yes, it really does start with the client. That is why you hire a designer. Basically what we need to do is find out your needs.
Sure.
So for every client, it's going to be a little different. Are you a baker? Or like you said, or is this a social gathering place? Do you host wine night?
Sure.
What does that space need to be able to do for you moving forward in the future to really be more functional?
And what we usually see is there's a lot of people who use things like Houzz and Pinterest and stuff. So they have these ideas of aesthetic, but they're not necessarily thinking about form and function. And so you really have to help them rethink about their kitchen and its use. And sometimes I think that line of questioning catches them off guard because they just think it's outdated and they just want it to look good again. And in some spaces like ours is small and we want to open it up and stuff. But form and function isn't something that's on my brain when I'm just thinking I need to remodel and open up my kitchen.
Correct. Usually the first thing that comes to your mind is aesthetics.
Yes.
And of course, aesthetics play a major role. As a designer, yes, I want everything to be beautiful.
Sure, absolutely.
But like you said, it needs to have a function. And especially a kitchen, that is where form follows function in 100% of the way. If your space isn't usable, but it's pretty, you're still going to be unhappy with it.
Absolutely.
I love Houzz. I love Pinterest. I love that we have platforms now that people can pull from and see things aesthetically, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it works for the house or for the client.
And what do you mean by that? They send pictures, and going back to what you're talking about, form, function, and even layout of the house.
That's exactly what I was going to touch on.
How does layout play a role in your kitchen planning?
So I was going to go to somebody's home and let's say they're on a slab and they really want to redo the layout. Well, on a slab, trenching out your plumbing, that is going to be something that maybe you didn't even think about, and now that budget that you were trying to play within has gone out the window because of that. Whereas if I went to a home that was up on stilts, much easier to move plumbing, much easier to
the accessibility of all of that. Absolutely.
In hood vents, of course, they've always had popularity, but it's just rising and rising and rising, that aesthetic feature. But what a lot of clients also don't realize is what a hood vent entails. Is that going to ventilate outside? Is it going to be recirculating? Again, these are things that you can see it in a photo and go, gosh, I really like it.
Yes.
But does it work in your space?
Well, and then the other side to that, you've led us down the path of talking about the contracting part, in which we work well together as far as that goes, but they may have an established budget. Like they may have discussed it as a family and said, I can put X dollars into a remodel. some people don't realize how much of those dollars are spent on the mechanicals to not even the beautification of the space, right?
Yes.
And so again, back to what you're saying, the budget that they thought, well, 100 grand, I can get whatever, but it really does depend on how the house is laid out.
Correct.
So when you're doing something like that as an interior designer, you're looking at the layout and then in your mind some of these things, but do you bring in a contractor, or how does that work in the planning portion?
And that's a benefit to clients as well, having a designer, is we do get to work with your contractor. I've had many occasions with the Kirby renovation side, you all being the contractor, the lines of communication remain more open as well so that the client can understand from the designer. We speak a little bit more in a client-friendly layman's terms.
Yes,
we're kind of like
absolutely.
the advocate
Yes,
between the renovation labor
Yes.
and the job being accomplished.
Absolutely.
When somebody has their own contractor, that's great as well. We play well with everybody, and I think
Sure.
as a designer, that is something that we should do, but we can break it down for the contractor as well in a way that they understand.
And the way I've always spun it is you guys come up with the vision, and really for your mission with the client is to keep that vision intact. Once you establish it,
Yes.
you try to do everything you can. As contractors, sometimes we can't keep the vision intact because it may be structural. It may be a plumbing move that actually costs more than what we thought. Budgeting and all that have to play well, but there are adjustments to the vision piece. If there's something that the contractor, a gas line, it can't be moved. So stuff
Yes.
like that. A part of, I noticed what you all do is you're mediators sometimes.
Yes.
Because it sometimes can be you're without your kitchen, right?
For months.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And if a plan goes well, then the job is done efficiently.
Yes.
But inevitably in construction and remodeling especially, there are going to be delays.
Oh, yes.
And sometimes those conditions, especially for the ones who enjoy the kitchen and that is their family space.
Yes.
How do you handle that type of situation? You've met the client. You've talked about what they want as far as their needs, but when you're in the planning portion for a kitchen, do you discuss those obstacles? And
100%.
so you're trying to help them prepare for
Yes.
being without, right?
You need to navigate the way that they're going to feel throughout the process.
Absolutely.
For one of my last clients, one of the major parts of their project was taking down walls, taking up tile. There is an exorbitant amount of dust
Sure.
that's involved with that. And some people go, oh, it's just a little bit of dust. It's your house. It's where you are every single day. Whether you think it's a little bit of dust or not, I always try to prepare clients for this is the process.
Sure.
This is how it's going to lay out. But these might be unforeseeable site incidences
Absolutely.
that will inconvenience you, but you
Yeah.
do have to trust the process. And as you said, sometimes being the mediator, preparing clients for
Sure.
renovations are lengthy and they do take time, and you're going to be left without a kitchen, without a working sink.
And we can only prepare from the design side and from the construction side for what we see. And there's always that unknown when you go in and do demo day is the telltale of how efficient the project is going to go, because again, we can only prepare for what we see, what's visual. As we start to do the demo and get behind the walls, you could uncover your termite damage, right?
Water
I mean,
damage.
yes,
Yep.
there's so many unforeseen conditions, and we do discuss that with the client, that you just don't know until you open it up. But also, it's as simple as, what about cooking? How do you prepare them for 8 weeks of eating out, or
I like to give my
move
clients
the microwave to a different?
I like to give my clients a list of local restaurants. No,
No, and it
by
really
the way,
does.
These are really good local restaurants. These are you should go. But no, preparing clients for unforeseen site incidences, and it's not to say like remodels are awful or anything, because no, by the time that we're done
Right,
and the
yeah,
client
yeah.
sees the vision, it's, believe me, most people have forgotten about the dust, or they've forgotten about what they found behind the walls, and now it's just that exuberance of being able to use the beautiful and functional space.
Follow and subscribe for more.